Are you hard stuck on hecarim this season? If yes, then my Hecipedia will save you. After reaching Korean Challenger, I just released my in-depth hecarim guide, covering all 56 jungle matchups, builds and runes, game plan and strategies, and more. Everything I wish I knew when I first started playing hecarim is inside the Hecipedia, so if you want an LP cheat code, check out the free version in the description and the full Hecipedia available on my Patreon. Hey guys, Huncho. Today I'm going to be doing a jungle tier list for this news patch. Is this World's patch? I'm not sure. Anyways, and there was a lot of significant changes in the jungle. For example, Volibear got some nerfs, albeit very small nerfs. He got some nerfs. Volibear, Talia got some mid lane nerfs. Silas jungle nerfs. Kiana jungle nerfs. And that's about it. Mumu got support buffs, and that's about it for jungle. But there are some item changes and as well as some tank changes as well. So Bombi Cinder is, if I go down to Bombi's here, Bombi Cinder has doubled the effectiveness on monsters now. So for example, if your Bombi Cinder were to do, I don't know if the base damage is, say 20, it would do 10 it would do 10 damage to monsters, but instead it's going to do a double. This is going to help early clears of some tank junglers a little bit. So for example, Sejuani, Maokai, things I want to build Bami's Zac as well. These champs are going to have a little bit more clear speed, as well as their jungle pet also scales with HP and resistances, so their clear speed isn't going to be as bad. So you will see some of these tank junglers actually maybe become viable. I'm not sure how this is going to land yet, but it's going to be a nice little boost for some of these tank junglers that were not viable previously. So we'll get started with this tier list. I'm going to be doing two different tier lists. We're doing a diamond and below, and as well we'll be doing a or actually no, emerald and below. Sorry, emerald and below. And we'll be doing diamond and above. So emerald and below, Amu instantly S tier, and emerald and below. The Bami's buffs are going to be nice for him. He does build, he likes Leandri's first, but Amumu, one of those champs that can build Bami's. I'm sure like Amumu's always been one of the best low elo tanks because he has some of the best like ganks and some of the best CCs, and he has good clear, good itemization. Amumu just solid S tier, like he's always going to be S tier and low elo, I think. He just falls off as he gets a higher elo because people start getting hands, and there's other champs that can do his job better, right? Brand had some buffs earlier. I don't think he's like that strong in lower elos. I would put him probably in C tier. I don't think he's like that good in low elo. He's a lot better in higher elos, right? So I'll put him in C tier. I think he's too hard to pilot for high elo players, or sorry, for low elo players. He has good clear, decent objective control. He has pretty good, like one of the best scrubs clears, but I think he's too hard for low elo players to pilot. So he's definitely either C or B. I'll put him top of C for now. Babeth's an interesting one. Babeth I think is very, very strong. But the problem with Babeth is that she's too hard to pilot in low elo, and I feel like there's other champs that can just do her job a little bit better. And if you're playing Babeth, you need to actually invade a lot and actually understand how pryos work, and that's not something that lower elo players will understand and use to their advantage. So for that, I'm not put Babeth probably in B tier. She's still a very, very solid jungler, pretty underrated now. She's been hit with many nerfs, but it doesn't change the fact that she's very, very underrated. I think the champ is very, very powerful still, but it's only in the right hands. That makes sense. Now Briar, I think Briar is pretty slept on, honestly. I think Briar might be an S tier because this is kind of like a low elo exclusive champ, where Briar she thrives in probably like diamond and below, where players don't know how to kite out her kit. Briar is kind of a stat checker. She's great into other bruisers. She's great into many champs. She's great into tanks. She's great into bruisers. She struggles against control mages and things that have lots of CC, but even still, like, she has good itemization paths. Like Briar kind of has everything. She's pretty, like, she's very easy to play, so it allows you a lot of room to think about proper macro. And your R is very, very powerful as well. She did get some changes this patch as well, which is mainly just like bug fix, I think. Let's see. Briar is mainly just bug fixes for the most part. And her Q damage went from magic damage on her Q to physical. And the R sound got changed as well. So not many changes with her. So Briar, definitely S tier in low elo. Next champ, Diana. Diana also super slept on. I think Diana is like one of those champs where she's better in high elo than she's in low elo, because she has very strong clear. The only thing Diana lacks, like, she has good clear, she had good dueling, good team fighting, good overall usefulness as a jungler in all throughout the game, especially like level 6 onwards. Your R is very, very nice. You have really great snowballing, but the thing is, like, she has no guaranteed CC apart from her R, and she has like no CC other than her R, so that makes her kind of lackluster. I think like she doesn't do the best into other bruisers. And again, it's still a bruiser meta. It's always gonna be a bruiser meta this season, I feel like. So Diana's gonna have to go into A tier. I would say maybe if you're playing her and you're good, she could be S tier, but Diana's gonna be A tier for now. Mundo, a situational pick. He is only good into certain comps. I think he's very, very powerful in Loyalo. I think automatically I'm gonna put him towards A. I think Mundo is like a really, really strong jungler into comps where they don't have percent max HP damage. So no Borks, no clips, no anything like that. Mundo very, very strong. Very, very, very strong into comps like that. Like he's S plus tier if you're playing in a comp with no percent max HP damage. Like Mundo jungle is insane. If you're playing into a comp with like Yi and Bork and Kog'Maw, it's unplayable pretty much. So I'll have to put him middle of the pack. He's A tier between S plus and C. He's A tier just because also he's not that easy to play. Early game he's very punishable, and if you're against most champs, you're gonna struggle early unless you know how to pilot Mundo. So A tier for him. Same with Echo. I think Echo is very, very strong. He's very underrated jungler, honestly. Like Echo is super underrated. He's probably one of the best like assassins in the jungle because he has a nice safety net with his R. He has good snowballing, really insane ganks. You don't have to be the best at Echo to have success, but if you are good at Echo, your W placement is gonna matter a lot, and you have a lot of skill expression with your W. So Echo, high skill ceiling champion, low skill floor, or high skill floor as well. He's easy to pick up. He just like his CC is not guaranteed, I guess, so that could be his downfall. But I think Echo's probably a better version of Diana because like Echo can also farm almost as fast as Diana. So I'll have to put him in A tier for Emerald and below. Elise is an interesting one where Elise is very, very powerful, but again, only in the right hands. I don't think she's strong in Emerald and below. Like her kit is too hard to pilot. Her diving is too hard to execute. Like Elise thrives off playing aggressive, playing on dives, right? And I think players in Emerald and below can't dive as well. So Elise gonna be probably like low B tier, high C tier. She is very strong, but I think she's only strong in higher elos. I would not recommend playing. Like your teammates are not gonna know what an Elise dive does, you know, in lower elos. I think she's more of a high-low exclusive champion. Evelyn, however, is the opposite. I would say Evelyn is guaranteed A tier. I think she's very, very OP in low elo. You can even make the argument that she's S tier. Permanent invisibility is really, really broken. Magi's is broken. Like if you're playing in an Emerald and below lobby and it's Evelyn, it's guaranteed that Evelyn's gonna get very fed. And if you kind of know what to do with your lead, you can actually impact the game really heavily. The only problem with Evelyn is that she's bad at securing objectives. Apart from her ulti, it's hard for Evelyn to just start dragon, right? You need pryos. It's hard for Evelyn to duel for the most part, but if you have a decent understanding of what Evelyn is, you don't have to be an OTP to actually have success in her in low elo. But like the permanent invisibility is so powerful, it's almost guaranteed that you'll be fed on Evelyn every single game if you're playing in lower elo. Like Emerald and below, you're guaranteed to have like 10 to 15 kills every single game. If you're buying Magi's, you stack it up, just use your R defensively, you should never die. Like this champ is like the permanent invisibility is really, really broken, and that's something like she's probably very annoying in lower elos, but in higher elos she falls off. Okay, Fiddlesticks always gonna be S tier. This champ is for the past 2 years, honestly probably for even longer, S or S plus tier champion. He has everything. He has amazing full clear. He has the best ulti in the game, probably the best ability in the game. He has guaranteed lockdown CC. He has point and click lockdown CC, right? He has a good silence. He has a silence. He has like 4 or 5 second CC chain combo. Your R1 shots even if you're full tank. So Fiddlesticks S tier. He's good into bruisers. He's good into mages. He's good into tanks. He's good into everything. The only thing he kind of sucks against is maybe like hard CC, but even still, like Fiddlesticks is always useful. Kind of similar to Evelyn, they're always going to be in the same position. I would say maybe Fiddlesticks even gets better in high elo because people start to one trick him. They understand how he works. So Fiddlesticks S tier guaranteed. Gragas, same boat as these two champs. I think Gragas is kind of he's just too hard to play in lower elos. He's just a harder version of Diana and Echo, and a harder, like he's like Elise basically. He has no guaranteed CC. He has skill shots. He has hard, like his combos aren't hard, but I would say Gragas is C tier. Like he doesn't excel in this meta right now. He doesn't do the best versus bruisers, and there's a bunch of bruisers nowadays. So C tier, Gragas, not a bad champion, but it's not the best right now. Graves as well. Graves in low elos, he just struggles versus bruisers. To put it simply, Graves struggles versus bruisers. He struggles versus high HP targets. He struggles versus tanks. Graves, unless you're OTPing him, if you're good at Graves, he's S plus tier. This goes for most champs, but Graves is one of those where it's like, if you're good at Graves, he's S plus tier. But for the most part, you're not gonna be good at Graves. He's too hard mechanically to play, and he's too unforgiving with in this current meta. In the Bruiser meta, Graves is too unforgiving. So C tier for Graves doesn't mean he's a bad champ. It's just right now, like, it's hard for a regular player to find success on Graves. Next champ, Gwen. Now Gwen, this is like the first time where Gwen's not going to be like dominating the high tiers, because she actually did get another significant nerf. Gwen's been nerfed, I think, like 15 times in a row. She's been hotfixed. She's been nerfed 15 times in a row. She was nerfed last patch, and I didn't do a tier list for that one. So she lost a lot of armor. She lost a lot of pretty much everything. But still, Gwen is a champion who is never going to be bad. She's always going to be good. She's always going to scale. I would argue even putting her into A tier is like fine. Like, this champ is always going to scale. She's always going to hyper scale. Her early game is going to be a little bit worse now, but Gwen is still like, it's really, really OP in low elo, because people don't respect Gwen jungle. Like, you just AFK farm, you'll be guaranteed to get an advantage in the jungle if you're farming better than the enemy jungler, which you will be, because Gwen has a good full clear. If you're playing Gwen though, just make sure your early game goes well. Get a solid early game, get to level 4. You can even 3 camp base Darksteel. I'll have a video on YouTube somewhere. Just do that, and you'll be chilling. Like, this champ is never going to be bad. They can nerf Gwen another 5 times, and I would still consider her at least B8 tier, because she just hyper skills so well. She's just a 1v9 champion. Doesn't matter how many nerfs she receives, unless they completely got her AP ratios. Okay, hecarim as well. Hecarim is definitely high A tier. He is a bruiser who can kind of punish lanes really hard, and what this means is hecarim is able to snowball really well in lower elos. He has some mechanical difficulties. You have to play with Q stacks. You have to not waste your E, if not waste your R and waste your Ghost. But as if you have a decent understanding of that, hecarim is one of the best champions to start climbing on. I might even bump him up to S tier. I think with lethality build, rushing Axiom into Trojan, if it's a good lethality game and there are a lot of squishies, you go Axiom, you go Trojan. Really, really insane 2-item spike. I think it might be one of hecarim's strongest 2-item spikes. Axiom to Trojan. So I'll put him below S tier here. He's very, very strong in Emerald and below. S tier for hecarim. Very, very strong champ. If you want to improve on him, go read Hecipedia. It's right here. Go read it. Next champ, Ivern. Ivern is always going to be high S, low S plus tier. This champ is disgusting, to put it simply. Like, this champ is disgusting. He fastest full clear in the game, doesn't need resources to be useful. He can invade you permanently, take every buff. Daisy is completely broken. It can 1v1 any champ. The way to counter Ivern is you like invade him level 1 and make sure he can't get camps, but that's kind of cheesy. So Ivern is going to be S tier. I guaranteed like high S tier. I won't put him like he kind of struggles in, yeah, I kind of forgot this Emerald and below. So in high low he's S plus tier. I would say, because this is Emerald and below. In Emerald he's definitely A tier, but because we're talking about Emerald and below, I might have to bump him down to like low B tier. Again, Ivern gains a lot of power as you climb into higher elos, because the supporting like archetype that he is very, very powerful in higher elo, right? So diamond and above. But if you're playing in lower elos, and Ivern's not gonna be like, you can't 1v9 Ivern that hard unless you're going full AP, and I still think it's hard to 1v9 that champ without a duo. So I'll bump him down to B, but in high elo obviously he's higher. So B is fair, because I don't think like in Ivern and gold, in Ivern, silver, bronze he's worse, and emerald and plat he's a little bit better, and obviously in high elo he's OP. Next champ in the chopping block, Jarvan, instantly S tier. Jarvan is going to be always in a really good position. He received many buffs a little while ago, a couple patches ago, where he got his passive damage back, he got his Q damage back. Jarvan's in a good spot. He's always going to be in a good spot. It's a bruiser meta. He's one of the best bruisers right now, I think. I'm going to put him S tier. He just got his prestige skin in the battle pass as well. So, you know, Riot wants to keep him in a good spot for sure. So S tier for Jarvan. Again, I'm going to clump him up with Xin. Xin as well is always going to be S tier. Where's Xin? Pantheon as well. Where's Xin? Am I blind? Xin, this is pre-work. Xin, Pantheon, and Jax. Always going to be an S tier IMO. Is there any other champs that fit the archetype? I think that's about it for bruisers. What I will say is Jax is kind of a sleeper champ. Jax had 2 pretty significant buffs recently, like several patches ago, where he got his passive attack speed increased, and he also got his R damage passive increase. So he got attack speed on his passive and his R damage increase. So the only flaw with Jax is that his early game clear. Yeah, Wukong as well. I'll add him. Where's Wukong? There he is. I don't think Wukong is S tier. I'll get to that. But yeah, Jax, I would say Jax is high A tier. Jax is really good into bruisers, right? Think about Jax versus Xin, Jax versus Pantheon, Jax versus Briar, Jax versus hecarim, Jax versus Jarvan, Jax versus Wukong. Jax is E. He thrives versus bruisers and auto attackers. So Jax is a really great counter pick. I think as long as you get past the first full clear, Jax is a really, really solid pick. I think he's a lot better in jungle than he is right now in top lane. I think that Jax is really, really amazing as a counter pick. As a blind pick every game, I think you struggle. But as a counter pick, Jax is very sleeper actually. I do recommend playing Jax. You buy Darksteel, you buy Sun and Sky, 24 Sun and Sky, Zonia, movie. Jax is actually very, very slept on right now. I actually like this champ a lot. I'll make sure to play more of it. Next champ, let me get some S plus tiers going. Volibear, he got nerfed. He lost 1% attack speed. Doesn't matter. Fake nerf on this champ. I can guarantee it. The champ's still broken. And by broken, I mean he's just a stat checker, right? Emerald and below, Volibear will stat check you. He will outfarm you. He will have a powerful ultimate. I would say Volibear is not the easiest champ of all time, but he's just very, very powerful. The nerf that they did 1% attack speed nerf, and they capped his like attack speed on his passive with AP ratio or something. Doesn't matter. Just build an attack speed item now. Just buy Navori if you want, bro. At this point, I don't buy anything else, champ. S plus tier. He's been S plus tier. S/S plus tier for a while now. He is great into bruisers. He is great into everything, honestly. You have so many. The reason why Volibear is so great, by the way, is because you have so many itemization choices. You're against a lot of AP, okay, Rush Spear, Visage, Force of Nature, anything. You're against a lot of AD, okay, Thornmail, Bramble Vest, Iceborne, Trinity, Bruiser. Oh, you're against like random champs, build random items. You know, a lot of itemization choices on Volibear. So in low elo, as a stat checker, he's one of the best stat checkers in the game. As long as you're fighting with your cooldowns up, you will win. You will win fights. Okay, the sleeper champ, Karthus, is pretty sleeper, honestly. I feel like many people don't play Karthus anymore. I think he's very, very strong. He's top of A tier. The thing about Karthus is he is Gwen, but a bit easier to pull off. Where it's like Karthus will always be useful. Even if you're 0-10, you'll have 2 items. You got a death cap, boom. You press R before Baron fights, you can win a Baron fight, right? You can just go in, you can flash in, Zonia flash in, and then just get some Qs off, die, get a 2-3 Qs off, press your W, press your E, and then R, boom. You can always deal a lot of damage. You're kind of like a stat checker, but in a different tier. So I'm actually, Madrista, I'm willing to put him S tier, because I think this champ is very, very underrated. Like, I don't see many cards anymore. But I think like if you're against a really volatile matchup, you can take Exhaust. If you're against an easy matchup, you can take Flash or Ignite even. Karthus is always useful, and that's why he's so powerful. He's just always gonna scale into the game. He's always gonna be useful. And if you do start snowballing, you buy Darksteel, you just fist, right? And I'm moving below. If you're decent at landing Qs, enemy teams are gonna be worse at dodging the Qs. So S tier for Karthus IMO. I think he's very powerful. If you want to put him A tier, sure. He's not S plus tier though. Kayn. Okay. Kayn's an interesting one where I think Kayn's actually like very, very strong. Kayn versus Bruisers, very strong. Kayn versus Squishy's very strong. I think Kayn archetype, he's one of the most played champions in jungle. I will put him at A. The thing that Kayn lacks is his early game, where his early game is very weak. If you're able to snowball, you win the game. Pretty much guaranteed. Kayn is amazing at snowballing, but just getting to that snowball point is pretty hard with him because he has good ganks, but compared to like Jarvan or any of these bruisers, their early game is they kind of have guaranteed snowballing where they can fist you. Pause. They can like really start snowballing easily with their kits. Kayn struggles with that early, but if you are able to snowball, he's S plus tier. If you're not able to snowball, you're still A tier. So we'll say A tier. If you're good at Kayn, it's probably S or S plus tier to be honest. Okay, Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is honestly really underrated as well. Kha'Zix was really OP several patches ago, then he got like 2 big nerfs, and then people kind of stopped playing Kha'Zix. So the thing about Kha'Zix is he's a counter pick champion, right? If you blind pick Kha'Zix, you're gonna struggle because he doesn't do that well. And his bruiser meta, if you first pick Kha'Zix, they're going to pick a bunch of bruisers and tanks, and Kha'Zix struggles, right? So if it's a good Kha'Zix game, he's easily S. If it's a bad Kha'Zix game, he's C. So we'll go the middle ground. We'll say B. He doesn't really benefit too much from the Axiom buffs, but the Profane buffs are really insane on Kha'Zix, and that kind of helps him out a lot. So you can go Profane, you can go Lethality Item Seralda, whatever. You can full clear very fast. Profane helps him out a lot. So Profane's pretty nice in this champ. Why isn't Wukong with S? The thing Wukong lacks is his clear speed. So Jarvan and Xin and like Briar and all these bruisers, they have fast clear speeds. Wukong has a slightly slower clear speed, and Wukong is less useful than them if he doesn't have ulti, if he's not level 6. So Jarvan without ulti is still useful, right? You're in and out. Wukong without ulti is a lot less useful. Xin without ulti is still useful, right? Pantheon ulti is still useful. Pantheon and Wukong have similar clear speeds. Pantheon's still a bit faster. But yeah, these champs without ulti are strong. Wukong relies on his ulti, which is why I can't put him in S tier. He's still strong, but without ulti, he's not as strong. And Kha'Zix, if you want to put Kha'Zix in low A tier, you can, but high B tier because he's more of a counter pick. Kindred, next champ, Kindred. I don't really recommend Kindred in low. Kindred, same problem as Graves, at least Gragas. Too hard to play, not worth it. You need to know too much about Pryos. You need to know too many things about Kindred, and she doesn't do well into Bruisers, so I will put her into C tier. Not much explanation needed. Same with Lee Sin. Lee Sin, amazing champ, but again, he did have that nerf 2-3 patches ago where he lost 3 base AD. That's going to affect low elo players a lot more than high elo, and too hard to play, too mechanical, too techy. I don't recommend playing Lee Sin in low. Emerald and below, I don't recommend it. Too hard. Lilia, on the other hand, though, I think Lilia is very slept on. Lilia is one of the best like mask abusers. You go Haunting Guys, you go Leandries, you go Riftmaker, you go Bloodletters. You have 3 mask items. You have 2,000 free HP. You build a Zonios, you build a Force of Nature, you build tank items. I think Lilia is very, very powerful. She has great engage. I'll put Lilia into A tier. I think Lilia is better than Gwen. I think she's better than Dana. I think she's better than Mundo. I'll put Lilia with Echo, and I might move Wukong down. Pretty happy with this. 5 top of A tier. Lilia is very, very solid, very underrated. If I'm playing her, I would recommend building masks. So masks like again, Leandries, Riftmaker, Bloodletters. Those items are really, really powerful on Lilia. Defensive items, you have insane healing, insane movement. You have a lot on this champ. Okay, next champ is Yi. Yi is an interesting one where I would put Yi similar to Kha'Zix in a sense of like some games Yi is S+ tier, some games Yi is not going to have that much success. Maybe he goes low A tier. I think he's very strong right now because you can get a strong like 2-item core of like Kraken Rageblade, like Bork Rageblade, and then you can start building defensive items. If you're able to stumble on this champ, it's really, really insane. I might move him down to high B tier because if you're in a comp where they have a lot of CC, Yi is pretty useless. Like if they have Pantheon and like a bunch of CC supports and engage supports, you're cooked. But if they have no CC and they have squishy not squishy targets, if they have targets that you're able to land auto attacks on, so like a Mundo, right? Yi is amazing into Mundo and things like that. But if they have CC, Yi struggles a lot. So high B tier, I think he's pretty good, pretty slept on champ as well. But in terms of like when I think about like Yi, just play like Karthus instead, or just play like Gwen, because Gwen has no counters, even though she's so nerfed. But Karthus hyper scales and he's always useful. Yi, useful sometimes. Maokai, okay, so we're getting to the champs that might benefit a little bit from the Bami's buffs. I'll bump Maokai up into B. I honestly know Maokai's ass in solo queue. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Unless you're playing high low, Maokai's ass really bad in solo queue. I'll put Maokai bottom barrel C tier. I think like he wants to rush Leandries anyways, so what's Bami's gonna do? His clear is fine, but he's more of a utility based champ, and utility based champs don't do that well in low elos. So Emerald and below, Maokai is gonna be bottom barrel C tier. He's not a bad champ, but I don't think he's that powerful in low. Next champ, Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser just had his AD ratio buffed on his Q, so he has AD ratio on that now. Hexplay Mordekaiser going around. I actually think Mordekaiser is pretty good into Bruisers. He is a stat checker, so I think of Mordekaiser as Volibear. I might move him in lower elos. I think I'm gonna move him higher than Mundo. On Mordekaiser, you just farm up, you stat check everybody, and you just press R on anybody, you steal the stats, and you get the 1v1 off. So Mordekaiser as a stat checker is going to be powerful. I might move him above Wukong, to be honest, because like Mordekaiser has decent clear, decent itemization. It's decent right now. I'll put him A tier because stat checking is OP and low. Morgana, okay. So Morgana got a buff last patch, and she got another buff the patch before. So I think Morgana is like kind of a sleeper jungle pick now. I think because like in Emerald Below, people are not good at dodging Qs. I might move Morgana into A tier because like Morgana does pretty well into Bruisers, where it's like, okay, they jump on you, you black shield yourself, and you press Q, and you're safe. She has good clear. She's always healthy. She got like 3 buffs in a row, I think. So Morgana is pretty slept on. It's kind of a boring champ, kind of boring gameplay loop of like you just try land Qs and you press E. You have a 2.25 second root, I think, or it's 2.5, something crazy. So I would put Morgana low A tier and low Elos because she's just her Q is too powerful. It's like Fiddle 6, but like not as good. Okay, Nidalee. I don't really recommend playing Nidalee in low. Like she's too hard. She's way too hard, bro, for low elo players to play. She has good scaling with her E and heals and stuff, whatever. Traps, good utility for the most part, but she's too hard in low elo. Don't play it. You're just gonna like shoot yourself in the foot, I feel like. Same with Graves, same with all these champs. You're gonna shoot yourself in the foot. It's not worth it right now. Nocturne though. Nocturne, like I feel like this champ's always gonna be S+ tier. Same with Nunu. Nocturne and Nunu kind of similar gameplay loops of like, oh, I got level 6, or like Nunu just goes ganks. Nocturne gets level 6 ganks, gets Hexplate, gets Shrinebreaker, strong, powerful bruiser items. Why is Nocturne higher than the rest of these bruisers? Because Nocturne is able to duel the bruisers, and he's also able to outgank the bruisers in terms of his ulti is the best ganking tool, one of the best ganking tools in jungle. He has ulti up very often with Hexplates, 30 ability haste on his ulti. And you have the insane steroid stat boost. So Nocturne S+ tier. I feel like it's pretty simple. Good spell shield. I think that Nocturne is probably just the best jungler right now. It's just a bit boring. IMO. So Nocturne S+ tier has everything you want on a jungler. Amazing champ right now for sure. Poppy, also an interesting one, where Poppy is actually very, very strong. You can build Poppy kind of like a bruiser, but you're at the end of the day, you're more like a utility ganking cheese jungler. She's a very, very strong counter pick. So Poppy into Sylas, Poppy into anything with a dash. If there's 4 or 5 dashes on comps, which is pretty common nowadays because it's 2025, season 15, lots of dashes in everybody's kits. If there's a bunch of dashes, you pick Poppy and you can disable a lot of them, right? So I would put Poppy actually as a counter pick. She's amazing. She's like S+ counter pick. But in general, she kind of is like lackluster. I will put her in B tier, as I think like if you're good at Poppy, she's very good. But like I think it's pretty hard to be good at Poppy. Find the E angle is difficult. The R angle is difficult. It's not that good. Rammus, however, Rammus is an interesting one where I think Rammus actually is pretty sleeper as well. He's not that good, obviously. It's like a tank and solo queue is never gonna be that good. As a counter pick, Rammus can be great if they have 5 AD, 4 AD auto attackers. I think Rammus, I might bump him down. Because it is a bruiser meta and Rammus is great into auto attackers, I might have to put him into A tier. Rammus and Morgana are pretty slept on picks nowadays. I think these two are actually like not that bad. They are very good in certain situations. But because Rammus I feel like is only good in certain comps, I'll put him top of B, interchangeable though. Next champ, Rek'Sai and low. When you think Rek'Sai, you think level 3 cheese gank, and why? Like the thing about Rek'Sai is that she struggles at dueling other bruisers. She struggles at a lot of things that like these champs don't struggle with, right? So I can't put her higher than B tier. I think this champ is kind of like a failed design, where it's like she's too hard and low. And this other champs just do her job better. Like I guess you can get some cheese ganks on Rek'Sai and start snowballing, but like I feel like with the map changes in season 14, just anybody can do a cheese gank just walking behind bot lane in Tribush, right? So I definitely don't think that she can be A tier. She's B tier. She's mid champ. Rengar, I just wouldn't recommend Rengar in low. The only time I recommend Rengar is if you're OTPing him. Rengar is a very, very powerful champ, like 9 nats in Korea right now. 1500 LP, 80% winner on Rengar. He's an insanely like strong champion in the right hands. But the problem is if it's not in the right hands, he's not that powerful. Again, Rengar it's a bruiser meta. Rengar struggles versus bruisers unless you know how to pilot. So I would put Rengar in just don't play category unless OTP. Don't play unless OTP. Like, I'll put Graves in here too. Kindred in D tier. Yeah, if you're in low, Emerald below, I don't think you like, unless you're OTP, do not play Rengar, do not play Graves in low right now. That's how it works. Next champ is Sejuani. Yeah, but Rengar, he's a great OTP champ. He's probably the best OTP champ, and this 9 has proof of it. Really insane OTP champ. Okay, Sejuani, tank and solo queue. Bombi Cinder might help her out a little bit. I'll put her top of C tier. I think, honestly, because she has really nice CC, Sejuani's kind of slept on pick. Whereas Sejuani's just a better Maokai, in my opinion, in solo queue. She actually has decent damage, so I'll put her in B tier. If they have a bunch of bruisers, I think that Sejuani can be good in a lot of comps, and she's going to be one of those champs that benefit from the Bami's buff. Same with Zac. He's going to benefit from the Bami's buff. It's going to help him out a little bit. I think Zac champion design is pretty strong in low, so I'll put him top of B. Like, you'll be seeing a little bit more tanks here and there with these with this recent patch. It's not going to become a tank meta, but it's going to be you're going to see more of tanks in your games in Emerald and Below. You'll see more Zac, you'll see more Sejuani. I think Zac might even he might sneak his way into A tier. He had a little adjustment to his R, which makes him ghosted now, which could be pretty nice. You might be able to sneak him into A tier. I won't, personally. I don't think tanks are good in solo queue, but I think overall Zac can sneak his way on top of B, low A tier, which is fair. Okay, Shaco. Shaco's more of an OTP champ, but this champ's always gonna be broken in high-low, and any elo. I mean, he's always gonna be broken, but he's more of an OTP champ, so I might have to like knock him off a few categories. The reason he's so broken is the same reason I've been so broken, where it's invisibility is OP and low, because it's too hard to track. There's too many things going on in League where invisibility is OP. He has his early damage is too strong. It doesn't matter if they nerf his AD ratio by 5% on his Q, and they nerf his Q CD by 1 second. It doesn't matter because he can level 3 gank and then get guaranteed kills, start snowballing the map. And then if you're actually like good at Shaco HP, if you're actually good at Shaco, you can build AP, you can scale. AP Shaco is one of the best scaling gems because of his boxes. They're so powerful. And in Emerald and Below, like, people aren't going to clear boxes that well. And high-low, maybe a little bit, but yeah, Shaco champion design. If you OTP Shaco, he's S+ tier. I think the only people who play Shaco are OTPs anyways. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna first time Rengar today. People like who play Shaco, they play Shaco. So he's S tier. I think S tier is fair. I mean, you could put him high A tier if you want, but as a champ, Shaco is always gonna be a jungler. Shyvana is like not in the best spot right now, I would say. She has like a couple builds going around. I think she's better than tanks. She's better than Zac, Rammus, and Sejuani. I'll put her low A tier. She does decent to bruisers. She's a decent stat checking champ. In my opinion, she's just like a worse version of Trundle. And like Trundle's like very, I'll put Trundle S tier still. The thing about Trundle is he received nerfs on his like E-pillar cooldown and stuff, but as a champ, Trundle is always gonna be pretty powerful because he's just gonna be really good into bruisers. He's gonna be really good into tanks. And the thing about Trundle though, I will bump him down. I don't think he's that good in solo queue. I think he's very good into certain comps. He's S+ tier in certain comps. But in solo queue, it's not every comp is like, you can't just like, if you blind pick Trundle, he's not gonna be strong at certain comps. If they have a bunch of range mages, he's gonna struggle. So I'll put him in A tier. As a counter pick, he is, or as like a situational pick, he's elite, but overall I would say he's A tier, maybe even from below Mundo, maybe bottom A tier. I think that's fair. Okay, Skarner, he's gonna be one of those champs as well. That might, I mean, he doesn't build Bamis, so it's not a Skarner meta right now. I kind of miss playing at Skarner all the time, but it's not a Skarner meta. They got this champ. I'll put him top of C tier. I think tanks are better than Elise. But yeah, top of C tier, not a tank meta right now. Talia. So Talia received some mid lane nerfs, not so much jungle nerfs. I think Talia is too hard to play. B tier. She's solid, but too hard to play. Just play an AP champ. You know, just play other AP champs. Talon. Okay, Talon's if you're gonna play any assassin, I'm gonna do it after this Zerzo, I think. If you're gonna play any assassin, Talon is top 2 assassin right now. And the other competition just got nerfed. So I think if there's any assassin you're gonna play, it's going to be Talon. He is the best assassin in jungle. He has his E, which is like really broken by concept because he can just be everywhere on the map. You can build the nice lethality items. He benefits from Axiom buff as well. Spam Axiom on this champ, I think. So I think, yeah, Talon as an assassin, I think Talon overall, like, he's not that easy to pull off, but as an assassin, he's the best. So I'll put him S tier. Even though it's an assassin meta, Talon can build Bruiser items, he can build more Bruisery. Just as a champion design, like, Talon will be S tier. I think this champ is... I'm surprised that he avoided nerf this patch, to be honest. I thought it was pretty good. Don't play Teemo as champion. Teemo, like, he doesn't actually counter Bruisers, because, like, for example, Teemo versus Pantheon W's on Teemo. Teemo blinds him, and then Pantheon just waits a second, and then boom, Teemo's dead. You know what I mean? So Teemo's not actually good into Bruisers. He's not actually good into anything, like, except Yi. I think if you play as a counter pick, Teemo is fine. Next champ, Udyr. Udyr, just always by concept, Udyr is going to be strong. I think he's just BRT to A tier. Like, Udyr is good into everything. There's no counter to Udyr. Like, you're not going to get kited out in low. I'm willing to go as far as to say he's S tier still. I think Udyr is just a little bit harder version of Volibear. Stat checkers, you have everything. Good itemization. You can go Bruiser, you can go AP, you can go full tank, you can go full AD, you can go full crit, you can go full lethality. You can literally build anything on this champ. Same with Volibear, Ultimate Bravery champ, where it's like, you'll get stat checked, good tempo, not many counters. Viego is one of the best junglers, but he just struggles in low elo because players don't know how to play with Viego. I will go as far as to say this Viego is probably like low A tier, high B tier in Emerald and below, because players don't know how to play Viego. And if you're playing properly Viego and you're playing to get resets, he's S plus tier. But again, it's a lot easier said than done, and it's not that easy to pilot Viego properly. Is what I've learned from coaching and seeing Viego's pilots. Even in Master and Plus, they don't know how to pilot Viego properly. So I'll put Viego low A tier, even though he's an amazing champion. If you play him correctly, Viego is one of the best junglers, but people don't play Viego correctly, is what I noticed. Especially in Emerald and below. And he struggles versus other bruisers if you're not ahead. That makes sense. It's hard for Viego to play into other bruisers if you're not ahead. So low A tier. Vi's interesting champ as well. I'm willing to put Vi into A tier. I think Vi, I really like Vi as a champion in solo queue. I think she's always gonna have a spot in the jungle because similar to Viego, people just play Vi wrong. Go on Vi, you just AFK farm till you're 6. Obviously you look for ganks when you can, but like you're very happy as Vi, just farming, scaling, getting to your item spikes, and ulting the backline, ulting the ADC. And then like your teammates will be able to benefit from it. Like Vi has very strong early gank potential. She has very strong like lockdown CC. Lockdown CC is OP. I think she's a bit difficult to pilot, and she received a lot of nerfs because she was very strong pro play, which affects her in solo queue a bit. So she's not like that appealing to play in solo queue, but I will put her in A tier. And I think if you're good at Vi, she's like S tier maybe. And I think she's very strong though. Like Vi is actually a strong champ. Warwick. Okay, so Warwick, he received those top lane adjustments recently. He lost like 6 passive damage, gained 5 AD, 6 AD. I think Volibear is like Warwick's a very good stat checker. He's very, very strong stat checker. And I think versus like Warwick as well into other bruisers, I think Emerald below, he's probably S tier. Just because he's so good at stat checking, right? Like you can build Stridebreaker, you can build like Bork, you can build Trinity, you can build Tank, you can build pretty much anything else champ too. It's kind of similar to Udyr and Volibear where he's just stat checker. But Warwick, the difference with Warwick is he has like a new trait where it's like Warwick can run bot lane at 600 movement speed because enemy bot lane is 1 HP. You can go for a nice dive. He has lockdown CC like Vi. So in my opinion, Warwick's kind of similar to Vi in a lot of ways, but Warwick's a bit better than Vi in lower elos. Zed. So Zed is interesting one as well, where it's like Zed has really insane full clear, but a lot of players don't know what to do with that full clear, right? So like you have like a 250 full clear, but a lot of players struggle. Like Zed is very hard to pick up. I'll put Zed bottom barrel B. I think his full clear just automatically puts him at B tier, but he's too hard to play. Like to actually be useful in Zed is very difficult. Players are not good at being useful at Zed because the champ itself is pretty hard. He's not that hard, but he's pretty hard. And landing your combos and knowing what to do. Like mid game, late game is pretty easy. Just spam your spells and just play like a mage. But I would say he struggles versus bruisers. Again, it's a bruiser meta, so I'm going to be biased towards bruisers will be better right now than the other things. Zyra. Okay, Zyra really strong champion as well. The thing with Zyra is she's not that good into, like, she's not good in low elo because she is a bit difficult to play. She's a better version of Brand, right? So I'll put her high B tier. She's good into many things. She's good into, she has no real counters in jungle, to be honest. Her full clear is really insane. She did receive the buff recently. I'll put her in A tier actually. I think you can blind pick Zyra every game and have a lot of success. She's a better version than Ivern and Brand in low elos. And those champs are obviously really good in high elo. Yeah, she's just a better version of Brand. So A tier for her. She has no real counters. She has insane full clear. One of the fastest full clears in the game. You're always useful. You build Leandries, you build things like that. You build Zonias, you build Shadow Flame. You're really strong. You're insane poke. Like, if you're blind picking Zyra every game, you can basically have, like the most damage dealt every single game on Zyra. Just because this champ's really insane. Okay, Darius. I'll put Darius in B tier. I think Darius is like he's a stat checking champ, but he kind of falls in the same like problem as Wukong, where it's like Wukong is like good, but he needs his ulti, and Darius like needs the right conditions. I feel like Darius can still be carried out easily. I feel like in low elo he's pretty strong, but overall Darius jungle isn't like that strong. I think it, like when it was really strong, like before the nerfs, like it was broken, but you have to take Ghost on Darius. Yeah, it's like maybe he's good into like 5 melees, but if like usually there's not 5 melees, right? And I feel like you just get carried out too hard. Darius is actually not that easy to pull off, so. And I would say the Fury falls into the same problem. I mean, the way the Fury works is she's just Talon, and she's just like an assassin / bruiser, but she lacks what makes those assassins and bruisers good. So Talon, for example, he has E, mobility, fast clear speed, good burst, good itemization. The Fury, slow clear speed, okay mobility, okay R, okay burst. Like, the Fury is a worse version of Talon IMO. So I would put her in B tier. She's not that bad. She's good into many things. Very safe blind pick. Very safe champion, honestly. But yeah, she got nerfed too many times, so I'll put her high B tier. Olaf. Olaf is an interesting one where I think Olaf is not that bad, but he's only a good counter pick, so I'll have to put him low B tier. Olaf is only good as a counter pick into lots of CC, and you don't really counter pick as jungle. You just kind of just blind pick jungle anyways, so low B tier for Olaf. Rumble. Rumble is also an interesting one where Rumble is very strong. It's just he's difficult to play and he's difficult to pilot. So on Rumble you need to manage your heat. You have to actually look for those R angles. You have to be like, Rumble has good clear. The thing is, Rumble is just a bit too difficult to play in my opinion. I would say he's better than like, I would say he's right below Kha'Zix and Yi, where he's just too difficult to play, and I would stick to Rumble top lane. I think Rumble is a very problematic champion, and Riot knows that, so they always nerf him a lot. Okay, Qiyana. Qiyana got those nerfs recently. This patch, actually. She lost 2 AD. She lost like 0.2 armor growth, and she also lost 5% passive damage. So, what is it going to do to Qiyana? It's not really going to do much, right? If you remember a couple patches ago, she got the buff for jungle, where she got 10 damage on Q, attack speed on her W. So, she was S tier before, but the thing is, this is Emerald and below. I will put Qiyana, Emerald and below, high B tier, because she is just way too difficult to play. She is still one of the best assassins in the jungle. I'll say she's the best, but she's too difficult to play. Just go play Talon, you know, if you want to play an assassin. But she is very strong. Just only in the right hands. Same with Baba, same with things like that. Nautilus. Nautilus is an interesting one where Riot tried pushing him into the jungle. I think he fits a certain role, and that certain role is being like a Sejuani type champion. I think he's pretty strong where he has faster full clear than Sejuani, but the thing is, honestly, I'm willing to put, like, if your team has no CC and no engage, and you want to pick Nautilus, I think like low A tier is like pretty decent, but I'll put a high B tier. I think Nautilus is actually pretty slept on. People kind of just like got over the hype of Nautilus jungle pretty quickly. I think because his full clear is so fast, you can actually push tempo, and you can actually like invade Raptors from on this champ. He's just a better version of Sejuani in my opinion. So if you want to put him low A tier, you can. Next champ, Sylas. Sylas is one of those champs that got hit by nerfs as well. I think before I put Sylas, I think it was A tier. And I'm going to blow. I'll put Sylas. I still think Sylas is very strong. I think he, like, the main problem with Sylas is that he has like the main problem Silas had is that his full clear sucked, right? Then Riot buffed his full clear, and then he's OP. So they nerfed his full clear, and now it's 130% bonus damage on monsters with his passive. So I would assume his full clear at level 1 probably loses maybe 5, 6, 7 seconds, and it's gonna affect him throughout the game, which might not seem like a lot, but it does add up, right? So Silas, I would say Silas is it's kind of hard to gauge. It's either high B or low A. I think he's definitely viable as a jungler now. He was not viable before. He's not like just a cheese pick anymore. He can actually scale into games and be useful. But he is, like, the reason I put him so low, and some would think is very low, is because Silas is not easy to play. He has actually very, very high skill ceiling, right? Where it's similar to Viego, but it's more like you have a lot of interaction with other champion ultimates. You need good game knowledge, and you need to like Silas, too hard to play. And high low I think is a bit better. Too hard to play. Set jungle. Set's kind of an interesting one where Riot's been slowly pushing Set into the jungle a little bit. They were buffing his E damage on monsters, E bonus damage on monsters. They buffed that twice already over this year. Riot's slowly trying to put Set into the jungle. And my take on it is Set is just more of like, think about Set like Poppy. Set's kind of like Poppy, where it's like, you're just playing for hack slash ganks, you're playing for like kind of like cheese ganks, right? You don't have that good of a full clear, you're not that good into bruisers. Set's a lot better top lane than he is jungle. I'll put him in C tier. He's like kind of just a worse Mordekaiser, worse Poppy. Like, it's not that good right now. Vayne as well. Vayne, a lot of people picking up Vayne jungle, they think it's good. I think if you're going hexblade on Vayne jungle with like Trinity or like Kraken hexblade, things like that, I think it's not the worst. The buffs that Riot gave to Vayne jungle is nice because you're able to max Q in jungle, which makes it pretty playable. It's definitely playable. I would say it's only good into certain comps. If they have like a Xin or a Pantheon or Draven in jungle, you're cooked, right? You're absolutely cooked. If they have a bunch of tanks, however, Vayne can be good. Think of Vayne as like Yi, but just a little bit weaker early. So I think Vayne's playable. Just only in certain like situations. She could be A tier in the right draft, but yeah, overall, there's some champions that are missing here. There is Ambessa that is missing, and there is, somebody said Nila. So Nila is statistically the worst jungle in the game. I played probably 5-10 games of it. I think Nila jungle is okay. She's a decent counter pick. So I think Nila can be B tier, A tier into like 5 auto attackers because her E is so powerful, right? But if like in most comps, she's like C tier. She's C tier, D tier. I would say she's even like, she does scale well. She's kind of like Gwen in the sense that she does scale well. She hyper scales, so she is useful in most games. So I would say Nila would be C tier. Ambessa, she is more of an OTB champ. She's pretty hard to play. I would say Ambessa kind of falls into the Rengar tier, or like she's decent blind pick. I would say Ambessa is probably like B tier. Why isn't even OTB tier? I mean, I explained it earlier, but it's just because permanent invisibility is broken. You're always going to be fed on this champ. Every single game you'll be fed on Evelynn. Okay, well, this wraps up the Emerald and below 15.18 tier list.